Yeah, so it's interesting. You were talking a little bit there about how the ease of using it. So I'm not sure if they walk you through that. Our vision really is to open it up. We know that the Unreal Engine itself, the tools are getting easier and easier. I tell a story all the time. My daughter's friend, who's I think at this point 10, builds games in Unreal because she's smart, she's homeschooled, and she
Yeah.
just has Unreal at home. So it's gotten easier and easier for people to use. And what we have our system set up to be is the upload to our network is as simple as uploading a video to YouTube. So we expect over time that game designers and just hobbyists who have spent their time, making crafting their own experiences, they have the ease of putting it live and getting it in front of an audience without having to open up a Steam account and give 30% to Steam or the Apple Store, which steals 30%. This becomes now very easy to do. And then once we figured out that, wow, we could actually use the mobile game model, like we can use advertisements at the beginning to pay for their streaming costs. So it really becomes a free service. They get to put their games up for free. So how much does that open up for creativity and experimentation? I think, I lament my industry that I've been a part of for 25 years, just kind of going down a route where they make the same game over and over again. Everyone stays with the same IP because the risk of spending a bunch of money on a new IP and 3 years making a game, many studios won't take that risk because they've seen massive failures and massive losses. But at the same time, they're also not just doing innovative new gameplay styles, and that's kind of what we're part of the end that we want to get to is going for that kind of thing. But then you throw into the mix the idea that your new innovative game style can also include a persistent world where you have 100,000 players all at the same time, interacting with it. I think, again, it's hard to say what all the things will come up, from that kind of interactions.
Absolutely. And, I'm here for the big persistent worlds and the living, breathing worlds that will eventually merge, and being able to operate these worlds with the kind of accessibility you're talking about, where, you're just watching a few ads pays for the pixel streaming, and I don't need a game grade GPU. I can play it on my TV maybe at some point in the future. That's exciting. And getting adoption along that route, so people actually have the space. You need to get the fundamentals right, and then you start experimenting, not being too, not erecting too many barriers that you have to out the gate have an idea that needs the tech and needs to scale, is actually going to increase experimentation, increase the pool of people who are going to start playing around. Because now it's start building a game and now start playing around with ideas, and if you, like you said, if you find one that works, if you find the fun, then launch it and then work on the next idea and the next idea. That iteration, that's what's really going to lead to creativity, rather than having a big design up front that you come to the table with and you work on in a kind of dedicated long-term way. But of course, the really exciting games that come at the end, which are completely new genres that could not have been done before, that's what I'm here for. I want to see that. It might take a few years, but excited for it.
I don't know if you remember when Spore first came out, the Will Wright game.
Yes.
That was such a great game. But before, if you remember, before the full game launched, they launched as a creature creator.
Yes,
And
I
within
remember
it's like a week or so, there were more creatures created than exist species on the planet, on Earth, which was just fascinating. And you could see now, imagine a persistent world where there's one application that's creating creatures that you can let loose in the world, and they say persistent, and all of a sudden you've got carnivores and herbivores walking around that people have created on their own.
Or you can throw evolution into it and shape how species start to occupy niche extinction events, and some that are well adapted start to find a niche, and the ecosystem achieves equilibrium over time. That'll be cool to see.
But then you have to wonder who's going to control things like earthquakes and storm systems, or maybe that's just something that the AI takes over, right?
Oh, yes. Potentially AI, or that could be the game. It could be a god game, right?
Yeah.
Mess with nature, and then maybe maybe the AI are the people in that world, and you're messing with them and how they react. Like Populous, I love that game. Populous.
Well, that was
the Pop 3. Yeah.
Yeah, Black and White was the same. If you remember Black and White.
Yeah. Yes. Black and White. Yeah. So these. And you could switch roles, or you could have an AI as a god, and you could be the people on the surface. Yeah, so I think it's a certainly super exciting future. Like, who knows what's going to come out when people get their hands on it.